Merry Deepavali.
Let's do that again.
Happy Deepavali! We are gonna have a deep dive on Deepavali in today's episode of Say Real because we have with us Aarti! I'm really a huge fan. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience here?
Hi, my name is Aarti Olivia Dubey. I run the account Curves Become Her. I am a fat activist as well as an advocate for all things human rights. I started out doing plus size fashion blogging, but before that, I was actually a psychotherapist, so it's like a huge leap.
If you just look at her Instagram page, right, you'll find that you really do have like the best fashion. I should say. The reason why we're doing today's episode is, right, if you're like me and you want to find out more about Deepavali, right, you really don't have much options besides secondary school or primary school.
Let's talk
going
about
through
that.
the assembly, like
Just kind of recognizes like, well, the Malay community has Hari Raya, Chinese people have Chinese New Year, and then what do the Indian people have? And then it's Deepavali or Diwali,
Yes.
right?
What's the difference between Deepavali and Diwali?
It's the
Region-
same
it's a
thing.
regional-
It's just
yes.
according to region, they say it differently, but it's the
Which
same
region says
festival.
Deepavali?
Deepavali is the majority here, the South Indians.
South.
I'm from the North, I say Diwali.
What is the significance of Deepavali?
So Deepavali is known as the festival of lights,
Yeah.
and I think that's quite blatant. Like we see, us playing with like the what is that?
Sparklers!
Sparklers, yes.
There you go.
Right, and also we have oil lamps.
Yes,
and we
yes,
have
that.
diyas, but basically it is the triumph of good over evil. There are different versions to how Deepavali came to be. For example, from where I am, we have this epic poem book called the Ramayana, and in the Ramayana, King Rama goes into exile and his wife Sita is kidnapped by a demon king
Oh wow.
Ravana. And so it's like this huge thing where he and a monkey army literally go and save her, bring her back, and then they leave exile, go back to their kingdom, and the Festival of Light happens.
When I was in primary school, they actually had a reenactment of this
What's so cool?
Huh?
on like the assembly for Deepavali. It was really
Nice.
very
Did it?
fun to watch.
Organized by?
By the school lah.
So
So the
fun.
school
K1
name.
primary school, K1 primary school. And as a child, I was so fascinated.
Okay, because I spoke to my grandma on the Indian side and I was like, so what is Deepavali? And she said, she just kind of mentioned that, well, it's most commonly recognized as a Hindu holiday, but I think it's transcended that because a lot of other communities also celebrate it. My family is Punjabi and Sikh. Ours is, I think, our 6th Guru Nanak? I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Guru Nanak.
When he was freed from his imprisonment. That was what my grandma told me, and that was the significance of Diwali. Different groups and communities in Singapore draw their own meanings as to why they celebrate.
Yeah, for sure. And like in all iterations, it is about triumph over good or triumph over adversity. And like in Nepal, what I love is that Diwali is known as Kukur Tihar, which is specifically a festival for dogs.
It's so cute.
It is so cute. They do prayers to all they love their doggies and their pets and stuff. And then they feed them sweets, and then they put garlands on them, and then they put tikas on them. So it's just really, really precious.
Deepavali is literally, right, in my opinion, right, the most inclusive event. Because
Yes.
a lot of my
Yes.
Indian friends will invite me over and we have like vegetarian food. So
Yeah.
everyone can eat it.
Obviously now in my family, because we're a bit more modern, only the grandparents kind of follow religious traditions. But our Diwali is mainly just a full-on party. And when you said it's an inclusive holiday, it just made me like flashback to all those times where like the young uncles of my family would bring their girlfriends, I'll just see like a Russian woman in a in a sari and I'll be like,
Damn.
I love it. And I love
okay.
Indian traditional wear. I love kurtas. As if you follow my TikTok, you would know.
I must know where you get yours.
I was gonna ask, where did you get yours?
my
Because
God.
I need to get more.
So my bestie runs the Curve Cult. So every year they have a Deepavali collection, and I just modeled for this year's collection last week, and it's out, so you can go check it out.
Check it out at the Curve Cult. So how do you celebrate Deepavali?
So Deepavali is technically like a 15-day festival. Traditionally done.
5?
Yeah.
It's 15.
No, so 5 is like the big 5. It's like
Oh,
the
okay.
most important
Oh,
5.
it's like Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
Like 3 days.
Yeah, so it starts 15 days before. So we start with Navratri, which is the goddess Durga has 9 forms, and for 9 days we fast, we're vegetarian, and we we pray to the different embodiments of Durga. And then we have the important 5 leading up to Deepavali.
I have the 5 important days here because
Okay,
I did a
good,
little bit of
good.
research. Day 1 is when people clean their homes and shop for gold and their kitchen utensils to bring good fortune. Day 2 is when they decorate their homes with clay lamps, and that's when they create the rangolis using colored powders and sand. Day 3 is when families gather for the Lakshmi Puja.
Yeah.
Firework festivities after that.
Yeah.
Day 4 is the first day of the new year,
Yep.
where basically it's what you expect, where friends and relatives all come and you all celebrate together. And then day 5 is when brothers will visit their married sisters.
Yep, that's called Bhai Dooj.
And then welcome them with a love and a lavish meal.
I think what I want to really ask you is, right, what are like the most common misconceptions about
Yes.
Deepavali that you have?
Yeah, I haven't really heard that many misconceptions about Deepavali. I think my disappointment is they don't want to know. And I feel like it happens a lot with minority races.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just to play devil's advocate, there could be a lack of access.
There actually is a fair bit of information out there. There's the Indian Heritage Center. There's stuff on social media as well. I think it's just up to you.
I think my take, right, is that it's all about exposure.
Yeah, very that.
Because I have never been to any Deepavali celebrations.
Okay.
It's not that I do not want to find
Yeah.
out
But
more.
it's just you never had the
It's
chance.
Haven't had the
yeah,
opportunity.
I'm not exposed to these
Right.
types of celebrations to learn. lah.
Which is something that I think lies in the fault of the big group, the country itself. Because I feel like it's their job to make it
accessible. At least.
accessible. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, especially
Yeah.
when we are out there in the world as a multiracial country.
Yes. I think it is a problem if we know more about one festival as compared to many others. I know about Christmas and Santa
I know
Claus,
about
brother.
Christmas.
Same. I know about Ghost Festival. All the superstitions. We Ghost Festival, we
Yeah.
go pantang, and
Oh
they
my
scared.
god, yes, we know about their pantang, right? But they don't know about our pantang. Alamak, I think we are on to something here, guys, which is something that I want to bring up because this really interested me over the weekends. I was out shopping with my family, right?
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
took the purple line. There was the Deepavali decorations on the train,
Yeah.
inside the train.
Yeah.
And then when we took the train back home, red line, nothing.
Nothing.
Abang LTA, if you're watching.
Abang LTA.
Why is it only the purple line have the Deepavali stickers? Is it because Little India is on
the
that
purple line?
Yeah, is it because of that? Are you telling me that Indians do not live on the north, south, east, or west?
That's it.
How many people tap in, tap out? You can afford to put stickers on the trains, inside the trains.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think that they're deliberately doing it because
Yeah.
it will essentially be an extremely backwards thinking to think that only Indians live on the
Yeah.
northeast line. Or
Yeah, but it also could technically be a matter of imagine the amount of stickers and all that you have to take out, and you know how quickly after Diwali happens that they start gearing up
Immediate.
for Christmas.
Christmas.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. That's
another-
the thing. That's another
You know
thing.
how quickly they
Hey.
switch.
Why do we spend so much time rushing into Christmas? Deepavali is not even over yet. We haven't had our last mithai and you're already with the Christmas
Yep.
tree.
My theory is Christmas is the one event that
Christmas makes a lot of
really
money.
has a lot of money involved.
Yeah, it's so lucrative.
Shop, but then they think that that's why Deepavali it's a very minority thing.
Yeah, it's only a single
Yeah.
demographic thing.
They
so,
wouldn't be too angry if you remove the lights by now.
Singapore is the
Yeah.
only country where to get to Orchard, you pass by some Diwali lights,
Yeah.
you go into Taka, you see the big Christmas tree, and while you're there to shop for Halloween costumes.
Oh. That's why they
Spot
call it
on. Oh my God.
multicultural.
Yeah.
I actually call it Diwaloween because Halloween always coincides with Deepavali, so I always call it
Yeah.
Diwaloween.
I love that.
I love Halloween, but then Deepavali pride. So I'm
Very
like,
good.
yeah,
So I'm just saying, it's really possible to
We
leave
can
it
do so
on
much
1
more.
month before.
yeah.
And then when the festival ends, we don't need to be in a rush. You can give it up for 1 more week,
Seriously.
First, speaking of that, right? What are your opinion on the racial harmony aspect then?
I just feel like it's so superficial. It's almost like a fashion show. It's not really an understanding. If we still don't have the exposure to each
Right,
other's
I get what you
cultures, right?
Yeah.
We still don't understand the basics of our different cultures and faiths. Feels
Surface,
very
we
on
just
the
know about
surface.
what different traditional costumes there
Yeah.
are. That's about it.
Exactly.
It feels more like racial harmony is tolerance, not
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah.
I think think there's a fine line between that.
We have come a little bit in terms of, trying to understand each other, but I will say that now there's also an element of political correctness.
Yeah.
I want to ask Aiman about Hari Raya, and I want to ask him questions about his culture and his festivals, but I don't want to ask like a wrong or a stupid question and then end up being like,
Wow, you're so ignorant.
Okay, but me being Aiman, right? Okay lah, if you're ignorant, then you're ignorant lah. At least you
ask.
are like...
At least you're asking.
Yeah.
Honestly, right, I would argue that the reason why the modern society now, like everyone,
Yeah.
is less knowledgeable about the cultures
Yeah.
is because of the inability of parents or like elders passing down these practices to their children. Like example, if me and Asher goes to school
Yeah.
and I want to know something about his culture,
Yeah.
No, I'm so scared.
Yeah.
We come to the point where we all forget about our own culture, right?
Right.
Then we all become so similar. And then we no longer become like individuals.
do you think that's a necessary trade-off for like equality? 'Cause that is a very...
I see more people trying to make an effort to integrate themselves. Me, for example,
Yeah.
I am first generation Singaporean, but I don't feel a connect to my motherland because I came here and I felt the need to compensate because I'm brown. You need to be excellent in everything that you do. I did everything I could to like distance myself away from my brownness. It was only years later when I was living abroad in Australia that I deeply missed my culture. And I remember for Deepavali, I mean, it's not a public holiday in Australia, so I remember feeling so sad because I had to like do an exam and a presentation, and then I came home and I was like, oh, it's just an ordinary day.
And you don't even have your family or friends there.
Exactly.
do you think it's important in this day and age, or even further from now, to keep the significance of the cultures that are already present now?
For me, I always feel that you need to know your roots lah.
I think it depends, yeah.
Like for me, like I may not be religious, and I'm in a place right now where I feel like I'm Malay. Although my father claims to are Javanese, but we have to do circle DNA. Circle DNA, hi. But then like knowing that I'm Malay, knowing that I'm Javanese, there's so much part of that culture that's like within me as I grow up also.
Right.
I feel like your identity is a mixture of who you are and your culture, and it's a beautiful mixture of both.
Okay.
Because it can be whoever you are in your culture also.
Social studies literally says that your ethnicity is a part of your identity, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Check
in your
syllabus.
DNA.
Circle DNA.
I think that it really depends. Like everybody has a different human experience. Like some of us feel more alienated from our cultures, right? Like I'm queer as well.
Yeah.
I'm non-binary. You know, for a long time, like I never felt accepted. And my heritage is rich and beautiful. But I like to see it in a well-rounded way. I also want to understand the things that I should learn not to do from my heritage, from my generations and my ancestors, because they made mistakes. They were not perfect. And there's so many things like colorism and casteism and classism that still exists that I need to be aware of. So like, I think it is important to know where you come from. You don't have to have it define who you are, but I think it plays a part in your self-identity for sure.
I do think that kind of preserving my culture is something that not just me, but people in my generation should be doing. But I think that it's also very hard, especially now. I'm Chindian, so there is almost that weirdness when it comes to when I'm with my Chinese side of the family. I feel too Indian to be with them,
Yep.
right? To have that relatability. But then when I'm with my Indian side, I feel a bit disconnected because of my partially Chinese heritage.
Do you think that's a struggle for you?
I think that's a struggle for every mixed kid. But this is not to say that like, woe is me, I'm Indian,
Yeah.
like feel sorry for me, Singapore is such a horrible place. Like, no, that's not true.
not.
Like, I'm just saying that like, inevitably when many of your minority friends grow up, they feel less than in terms of appearance, they feel
Yeah.
less than in terms of wantability.
Yeah.
I think that it is so crucial that people, especially my age, begin to realize that like, I've got like good features and you've got good features,
Yes.
and you need to realize that just because you don't look like Angelina Jolie doesn't mean that you aren't like beautiful in your own way.
Yeah.
Honestly, respecting your culture is very, very important to me. I think everyone should do it, but at the same time, like I can understand how, especially if you're around Keith and my age, it gets very, very difficult.
I think we really explored a lot lah, I think today.
We did.
At the end of the day, the most important thing is that this is our culture.
Yes.
This is part of our identity.
Yeah.
But we are not defined by it.
If you have culture, respect it.
Yeah.
If you have privilege, acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I have
Recognize
pretty
it.
privilege all the time and I use it. Don't believe me? Ask my manager.
What are you talking about? You're gorgeous.
I know.
She's stunning.
Like we love to end the
Yes.
show on a very positive note.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Aarti, can you please let the audience know what change you want to see?
I just want to say, I know there's so many third culture kids like me out there who are like, straddling between like figuring out their identities. So like, I would like you to divest from beauty standards, not have to worry about that. Like, enjoy the festivities without like the guilt of people coming to shame you for how you look. You look absolutely perfect the way you are. And in whatever capacity you want to enjoy the festivities, do so. There are no fixed rules. And in this day and age, like tradition is nice, but I try to use tradition as like a rule book, but
A little
very,
suggestion.
Exactly, suggestions, very
Guidance.
lightly. Exactly, some guidance. Go have fun and enjoy being who you are and enjoy Deepavali.
That's very beautiful. I really was like tearing up when she said don't. When
Aiyo.
I think it's the contact
Yeah.
lenses drying also.
I think what I learned from Aarti today is that firstly, just be respectful. Curious, just ask.
Yeah.
And lastly, just accept.
That's really very simple. That's all you need to know about Deepavali. Oh, I think we really want to thank you so much for coming down today, all the way here.
Thank you.
to the office.
No, thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
And really, like, apologies if we mixed up the pronouns and
No,
stuff.
don't worry about it.
But I think we learned a lot. And I think like education, like what is mentioned, is always available.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how much we have learned, I think we are all enlightened today. Like this is such a great conversation. So thank you so much for coming. Don't forget to like, comment,
Subscribe.
our channel, and please follow us on all our socials.
Yes.
Which will magically pop up right here. And
It
comment
never
down
does.
below like anything you want to
It
let
does,
us
it
know about Deepavali or what you have
yes,
learned.
please.
Or any experiences you may have. We always read the comments, especially me. So thank you and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.